Okay, we're ready for the trial.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese.
Unimportant
Just fast
legalese.
forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon.
Okay.
Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey,
She's never been an Archon in the first place.
Try the Hydro Archon for Forsaken.
Ah, the soundtrack.
Did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge?
Ooh.
Lady Furina,
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Nope.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
There are a lot of
Lady
questions
Furina
to
can
her
be
identity.
Super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this
She has a
case.
throne there, of course she
Many
does.
of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
Running away again, I see.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
We have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
The people only see you as their Archon, because
Well,
that's their
I
long-held
tried to give
belief.
you the chance to surrender. If you must persist,
You tried to
then
escape.
let me ask. If you believe I'm not the Archon, then what manner of being do you think I am? And if I
That's
was
a good
not
question.
the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
I've got to think carefully. What do we know to be special about Furina exactly? What is this? Why can Furina live for so long despite being a human? But she is actually afflicted with the curse.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case,
Where's your
there
mustache?
could be other ways to extend your life.
Such as a curse.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against
It doesn't matter
me.
who gave us the information. What matters is the veracity of the claim.
I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervlet?
So, Furina, instead of an Archon, would you just be
Lady
a
Furina
cursed human?
Is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well,
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the indemnitium that is used in every aspect
For what?
of life.
Wait, that one trial proved the opposite. Furina actually has no control over the Oratrice at all.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for humans to comprehend. There is no need to provide an
You're on a trial,
explanation.
Furina.
Lady
Provide.
Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order.
Exactly.
While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
Well, get used to
That was
it.
no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
As you well know.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day. But the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no god at all.
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
Sure, we can put the Oratrice aside for now. But then, Miss Furina, could you give us a brief demonstration of your power as an Archon?
My power as an Archon? There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I just carelessly demonstrate the formidable power of an Archon?
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go that far.
A brief demonstration of your power over Hydro should be quite harmless. Surely an Archon can at least match the capabilities of a human with a vision?
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium!
Okay.
Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
Hey, that's
God with no
Marco!
Power even still be called a god?
That's Marco's voice. Great.
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Yep.
Hey,
And yet,
come now,
again,
everyone.
the Oratrice
Please don't
follows
stare
the
at me
audience.
as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Furina you knew, right?
It follows the audience.
The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe
because
believe in
it's
me?
gaining indemnitium from them.
You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is?
That's the question.
If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument.
Yep.
How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up.
The real Hydro Archon. If she can't prove that she isn't the Archon, we can try to prove that she is just a human. And if she's only human... If she's only human... It turns out the Fontainians can be dissolved by water from the primordial sea. Over the years, Vache kidnapped the girls. They'll bring back his wife, who had been dissolved.
It has been established that all Fontainians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now.
Come
to
on, drink
eliminate
some
all
water.
Suspicions of you being the latter.
Hydrate
Miss
yourself.
Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time that I'll speak out of turn. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater?
Ooh.
If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontainian like all the rest of us. Would she really dare to try?
She's coming down. Furina. Furina?
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Furina.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
She's not gonna...
It does seem like she's quite terrified of it.
Dissolve, is she?
That could only mean...
What's going on? Is she really planning to... That's not what we thought she would...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may...
No.
Hey!
She actually... not dissolved.
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch this water! Really? Was this not the most obvious thing in the world?
Miss Siegewin?
Oh?
If you are present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siegewin?
Tijun's here.
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Seedween.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Seedween.
Yeah,
Lady
she
Furina
didn't dissolve, but
may
she
return to the
had the same reaction.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
This wasn't.
Considering your tendency to
this
run
wasn't
from your problems,
clear water.
we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
We still have an upper hand.
So out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Furina could have...
If it wasn't the case, she would have dissolved.
I can't believe...
She's losing it. But what's really going on here? Furina can't have not known the consequences of touching that water as a human. Perhaps she doesn't know herself. This is too unlike how she usually acts. Unless it's actually more important for her to keep up her facade than to save her own life? But hadn't she given up on everything a long time ago?
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and disdainful looks. What happened just now didn't prove a single thing. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the primordial seawater? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
She's losing it. She's losing it.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
That's so heartbreaking. No.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too stacked against her now.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Furina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
Already? Is this the time? What's going on?
Against her now.
Oh shit. This is just painful.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty.
Shit. That pose.
We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal to render the final verdict on the charges.
Oh no. Oh, here it comes. Here comes the verdict. And her quietly crying on her throne.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
can't be. Did the Oratrice just declare Furina to be innocent?
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct?
But...
However,
here
the
it
exact
comes.
wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth. How did things escalate this quickly?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vache wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearance
What's more
case.
strange is, instead of Furina, the Oratrice rendered judgment to the Hydro
Not only is
Archon.
Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
What's going on? Who's the Hydro Archon? Who's been sentenced to death?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
Oratrice, what's going on? Remine? Oh.
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
What mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Okay, Arlecchino involved? With some help of the other Fitsui?
That the first prophecy slate?
Egeria creating a human.
So the Nymph privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water.
I'm impressed how you did that.
But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late? Oh no. Father will be disappointed in
Don't
me.
worry, the mystery hasn't been resolved yet. It's still not too late for you to shine.
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate.
There's Egeria.
Traveler, I believe that you have already seen
There's a
the
body.
other existing slates. I would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
This looks like the previous Hydro Archon releasing her divine power, turning the Oceanids into human beings.
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Oh.
Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
So the people of Fontaine are all Oceanids that have been turned to people by Egeria. An association between the contents.
Let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her best to help you remember.
Okay. Let's do this. The real events related to the prophecy.
The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean
bell is... Oh...
Oceanids are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well.
They are turning back into Oceanids by primordial
Celestia
water.
floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still
Ah, that's the Fontaine theme. By the strings.
This must be the point when the Hydro
Oh, I love
Archon
that.
and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin.
The original sin is the fairest.
The original sin
So
and
she
the
turned
Hydro Archon
Oceanids into humans. The heavenly principles did not like that, and marked these transformed humans with a sin, as well as Egeria, who have sinned.
Well,
As
the
in
first
Vache?
plate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on.
That's happening
We
right
didn't believe
now.
that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Okay. The real events. It shows Celestia floating in the sky. So it is Celestia. It doesn't look like Celestia, but it looks like a small village.
What is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin
Interesting.
of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned.
Is this
and
what
the
Celestia
original
looked
sin
like
cast
back
down
in the
on
day?
people of Fontaine by
I wonder.
Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater.
They all
Converge.
became a part of the
Form of an
collective.
Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know together, loads of truth should come to light.
Verification complete. Okay, we're not killing off Furina. Thank God.
Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it! But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking revelations.
Kinda.
Let's hear them.
The first slate reveals that Fontainians are
Incredible.
not real
Linny,
humans.
did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vache dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in
That's so
shape
cool.
of Oceanids.
Indeed.
The second slate reveals that the crime of the Hydro Archon was her creation of Fontainians from Oceanids.
From the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of
As
all.
for the third slate, I'm still convinced that it should come after the fourth slate.
The image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate?
The fourth slate depicts the fulfillment of the prophecy as it's already widely known.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using a different power source. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates.
Yeah?
But since we only had 3 slates at the time, I was unable to come to a full conclusion.
Now
that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within.
Please do.
If everything goes well, we should finally be informed of the unadulterated truth.
I don't like how we just don't see Furina at all. She's just sitting there, dumbfounded, crying.
Well, did you get it?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. I will try to briefly summarize it for you.
Alright.
Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land.
Wow.
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the 7, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids.
Makes sense.
Of course,
Stop raining.
Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human
Oh, I love
race.
these shots.
And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So you...
Wow.
We were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing.
Oh, okay.
Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian, but it does answer a lot of our questions.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the 3rd and 4th stone slates was inaccurate.
I expected as
the
much.
slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct.
What is the 3rd slate supposed to represent then?
A key point of the visual on the 3rd slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids.
Yes.
They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea.
Okay.
The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice.
Furina's there.
Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, The meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro-Archon at the Court of Justice.
Fuck.
Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy,
It's still gonna
in
come.
truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now, it seems, we're the ones making sure it comes true.
What should we do?
I don't know. How I have done. Huh?
No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled. Is this what it feels like to be a prisoner of fate?
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler,
Yeah.
I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions.
Please do.
About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes?
Yes.
However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come.
Oh shit.
As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
I have? The ultimate proof. Just what is the true catastrophe?
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
The root cause. What is the root cause? Or the whale. It's the whale. It's the whale awakening.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
Yep.
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Oh shit. I don't like this purple. Oh shit, it's happening. Run, people, run. The whale is coming. Right on cue. Right on cue. Ooh, that opera. Yeah. Shit. It broke it. Where? Oh, okay, he's fine. He's fine. He's eating people. Here's Child. Of course he's here. And the Fatui theme. Come on, Nivelette and Child. And it's escaping. Child. Child. Nivelette. Face to face once again. Damn. Oh my god. Damn. He was so beat up. And he fell back.
Way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw
Yep,
in your dream?
I'd wager that it's also the one that Child saw when he was
So
young.
we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here.
Okay, you'll explain to us,
That
right?
whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while.
Is this a descender?
It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels.
I did not expect that.
Once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely.
Yeah, once more.
That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist.
That's why you wanted to eat Fontainians.
Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontainians.
Damn.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time.
Yeah.
Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
Yeah, Tartalica did a good job.
That battle maniac.
You all should thank him.
We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out
So
like this.
it's beyond the
Now that
sky.
we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up,
It's not even from Tivat.
It is too late.
What do you mean?
It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tivat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
Yep.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible foe. That's just not fair.
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Nicole's words. Come on.
The prophecy.
Yes.
Yes. What has been prophesied
Will be fulfilled.
You may view such things as the history of the future.
After everything, it still turned out like this. We couldn't fight against fate. But we mustn't lose hope.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall?
Does not fall.
Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tivat's future.
Is play your part. Could it be that even if the prophecy will be fulfilled, there will still be a way to save everyone? Did I miss something? I mean, we have a huge ship. Wait, I forgot about Furina! Damn. What was it that she wanted to say to me at that last moment in the giant magic box? What is her real secret? Furina. Oh shit. Oh, oratories.
What's happening with the oratories?
It's gone insane.
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
To whom? He's not the Hydro Arc.
Furina!
Furina, wake up. Furina. Furina, please.
No, I still need answers.
Damn, Traveler. Damn. Whoa. What? Da, 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 da. Was that the previous Hydro Archon? Was that Egeria? What is about to happen? Yo. Is that Egeria? Or is it just
you?
Oh, Salor. Furina?
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving
The fate itself.
the heavenly principles.
Oh, okay.
Deceiving the heavenly principles.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to
I
be
understand
flooded.
now.
One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it?
Yeah,
She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass.
of course she did.
And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over,
godly.
alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum.
Yeah.
I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor.
Wow. I still don't understand a lot of details, but for the most part, I can see all the pieces fall together, fall in their place. She wanted to deceive the heavenly principles. And as, well, Al-Haytham said, the best guise is when you believe your own lies. This really was all a play by her, by Focalor.
Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up.
That is true. That is
But
true.
one can only
She
play
left
the
you with
hand
this.
one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So she is an Oceanid.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids.
Wow.
Transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
That's why she felt
Yes, I was.
the primordial sea.
I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even
She's
now.
an Oceanid.
In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity.
She's the Archon.
And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be.
Wow.
Anyway, so then I cursed her.
cursed.
All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon, alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Furina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady.
She was a puppet.
To forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Yeah. And the Focalor, now before us, is gonna die, leaving only her human self. I came into contact with Furina's tears. If I remember correctly, tears often contain a being's strongest emotions. With sufficiently strong hydrosensitivity, I can form an emotional connection, just like I did with that Oceanid at the Fountain of Lucine. Wait, could this be Furina's inner world? Yeah. Just her, sitting on a stage, being the lead actress, forever and ever. Furina, what is she doing on stage? Wait a moment, that probably isn't Furina. That's likely a reflection of her inner self. If I can directly speak to that self, I might be able to easily get what I wanted to know. I came here for answers. Either way, this opportunity is not to be missed. Let me try talking to her. Wow. This is so beautiful. Just everything about
Who
that
permitted you to
storytelling.
come onto the stage? Now, I understand
So
your
incredible.
admiration for my august self,
I'm at a
but
loss for words,
I must
really.
ask you to keep to the rules.
Come on, it's me.
All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you.
Don't look at me.
There is
Don't
no
look at
need
me.
to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance.
But I don't see an audience here. Just let the
do not
stage
jest.
lights go
Can
off.
you not feel
Please.
it?
If
I
only
am
for 1
Focalor.
second.
The eyes
That
of
way
countless
I can
Fontainians are upon
become
me.
myself
I must, at
again.
all times, display the
She's so
utmost
used to this role that
elegance
she
and nobility.
just cannot possibly leave it be and be herself. Something's off. There's no getting through to her. Even in her heart of hearts, she's still playing the role of the Hydro Archon. What sort of resolve must she have that even her inner self and subconscious world have such an impenetrable defense? I have to find a way. Break the lights. Break the lights. Don't turn off.
Dear audience,
Okay.
the performance performance is
A cry without
experiencing
echo.
a technical difficulty,
This is
but
so tragic.
worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon.
That's all the spotlights turned off. In Furina's heart, they must have symbolized the eyes of the people on her. Speaking of which, I think I just received some sort of signal. Was that her true voice? Ticket. When did that end up here? A ticket for her performance. There's my seat. Oh, is she gonna dance for us? Either way, looks like the show is about to begin. In that case, show me how you truly feel, Furina. Scene 1. Before a mirror, Furina. Before a mirror. And that's a short-haired Furina.
Furina. Furina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you. Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be? Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that. Mirror me. What do you wish to say? The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
This is when she learned about it.
Prophecy? Wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro-Archon
This is so
will
trippy.
remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Oh, very good. You know it well. What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly. The only thing I know for sure is this prophecy. Will it really come to pass? Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later. Things will develop just as the prophecy declared. There is no escaping it. But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too? Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat. Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much and with so much certainty. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to suffer? But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? So if I've already met you as my magical meeting in this world, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other, is it not obvious where the scales should tilt? You truly are the perfect human, my ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you. Huh? Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro-Archon. I need you to play a role, that of the new Archon. Play as a god? That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let anyone suspect your identity. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all hope will be lost.
Hope will be lost.
How will I do this?
Oh,
A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed. Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against humanity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. I'll try to do this. So, how long am I going to have to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends. But I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
She's so innocent and happy. Scene 2. Accession speech, Furina. Now it's the long hair.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still don't know. Perhaps I should first try to act natural.
Summon courage.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Furina de Fontaine, your new Archon.
Appear earnest.
In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and justice.
Close, politely.
Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to convey my thoughts just fine. Okay, and next.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more assertive.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
This is the music from
What's
her
the difference
teaser.
between her and an ordinary person, then?
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison back puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. If I get exposed here, there'll be no saving the people from the prophecy.
Yeah, that's what she was afraid of.
Mirni said that I just
And when
need
her
to play the
identity
role
was
of a god as
revealed,
humans
imagine
She gave
it
up.
to be. Calm down, Furina.
She just gave up.
Think. What do the people
That's
want?
what she did. She
How
gave
would
up.
they imagine a god to speak and act?
She tried so hard
With a strong
to keep
sense
this
of
identity.
presence, one who can dispel all doubt.
It pains me so much remembering that her struggling so much on the trial.
Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside my august self, here in this opera house. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful. Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech.
Resolutely, with conviction.
My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin.
Turn up the drama.
The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its god. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future of Fontaine.
And the speech emphatically.
There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this world!
And that's how she kept her image. That's all she needed. That's all she wanted. Scene 3. Opera House. Wow. And now she's running around.
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Leave these kinds of things to Neuvillette. Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
Yeah.
A magnificent,
The one she's looking forward to the
dramatic,
most
and
is the one that
trial.
will
A trial
relieve
to
her.
end all things.
Yeah.
How could you hope to understand?
How could you
That's
hope
true, I fear I lack the
understand?
ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously.
It's such a different light.
Do your duties. The trial I await. It will come one day.
Someday.
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an inevitable consequence of my divine charm. All right, Deoteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with you, and to bring your words back to him.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down to citizens' homes every so often, while not usual practice, should serve as a fine change of pace.
Ah, you're such a gentle and wise god. Thank you once again, on behalf of my son.
Okay.
Lady Furina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your human wisdom would allow you to analyze it. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
The game of pretend.
Forget it. That's not something
Masquerade
you
of
need
the
to worry
guilty.
about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to counter the rising water levels.
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution thus far.
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. Still, their spirit is praiseworthy.
And going back to bed.
The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved.
Quietly cried alone.
All right, Furina, don't think too hard about this. You need rest. Tomorrow's
This all
a
makes
new
so
day.
much sense. Tomorrow is another day. Scene 4, Opera House, Furina.
Lady Furina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. There's no need to go back over scenes I've witnessed in person before.
Lady Furina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you in this manner.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Furina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute.
This is torture. That's
I
so
don't
sad.
think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
I feel so sad for exposing her identity now. Scene 5, Opera House, Furina. She's switches back and forth between her Numenusia. Jesus. Scene.
Lady Furina,
I didn't have the time to.
it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close like this. I've heard that the first member
182,000.
of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioteria, almost 20 generations ago.
Jesus.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a faithful believer.
And
a descendant
that laugh,
of a line
Jesus.
most ardent.
That dad laugh.
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Furina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
She's going insane.
No wonder.
Jesus, that smile
of your
with
power,
the tears
then. Oh,
and the twitch of
I
an
am
eye.
honored to have witnessed it.
Oh my god, this is so painful to watch.
So interminable.
So lonely. Just how much longer?
So lonely.
The thing we heard in the fountain. It's literally raining outside of my window right now.
Pass by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much.
Jesus.
Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this.
She didn't have anyone to vent.
Destroy all I've done so far.
Yeah.
I've conducted
She
so many
actually could not let
investigations
herself
across the centuries.
tell anyone.
But there's not even a sliver of hope that we might break the prophecy. All I can do is keep heart.
She wanted to, but she couldn't.
Maintain this act. It is the only way to save Fontaine. Please,
She's praying.
mirror me. You have to succeed.
This is such a tragedy. Scene 182, 376, Opera House, Furina End.
Furina,
Me.
you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
That's my voice. Is this scene from when we were within that magic box? This is great. I didn't think that this scene would replay in her inner world. Surely I'll find out what she wanted to tell me this time.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to confide in someone. Just share it with me. I'm what you'd call a witness.
A witness?
Someone who does not belong
Yes.
to this world.
I've heard that you came
Yeah.
to that from beyond the
Oh
stars.
my
yes.
god.
In
That
other
makes
words,
so much
you
sense.
never belonged here. And if Tavat is, in its entirety, a show
You're not
on
a variable.
stage, then you're just
So?
a spectator, aren't you? If that's the case,
Then you're someone I can vent to.
he's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But If things
He's the
don't
only
play
one.
out as expected,
I'm the only one.
the people of Fontaine will be the ones to pay the price. No, Furina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Furina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it long and hard.
Not enough time.
No, I have nothing to say. I am Furina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better.
She decided to
All you
endure it.
need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
He's so selfless.
Fine.
Jesus. So painful. This is such a drama.
So even Furina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
What's the full truth?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
Not hard to guess.
I've always suspected that it had its
Oratrice.
own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber.
Indemnity.
It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice,
It's gonna free
it will
Furina.
also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Furina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy
Yeah.
generated by the device was ever used to
I'm looking
provide
at it.
power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
But
It
what
was
about the
all
prophecy?
part of your plan, then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost
That's
all
where
of it
Lenny
has
was
now been
contaminated.
stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course.
Okay. I need a quick moment. So... Jesus, that's a lot. There's so much. The real Hydro Archon and Furina are two separate entities, but they're also intertwined together. God, it's so painful to just know that Furina endured such suffering for 500 years. That is insane. And the Hydro Archon has been accumulating indemnitium for these 500 years to get rid of not just herself, but the very existence of the Hydro Archon. And the implications of that, I can't even begin to imagine. Once she gets rid of that throne, the heavenly principles are gonna start acting up. They're not gonna take this lightly. If an Archon disappears, the very existence of the Archon as a thing disappears and the dragon receives its true form back, they're not gonna like that. Not at all. Just everything that's been happening so far, Celestia, I sleep. And if this happens, I'm afraid. I'm really afraid of what could happen. But also I'm remembering that Dottore, when Nahida threatened him with the bluff, but still, he asked her if she thinks that it's really possible. He was doubting the very concept. I wonder why. Is there really a chance that they will ignore something so crucial? That is a question indeed. But man, they really set this whole thing up for Neuvillette to have his powers back. Oh my god, I really hope that we actually get to see him transform. I so hope to see his dragon form, his dragonhood. Please, HOYO-verse, please. You showed us a silhouette of a pep, okay, but please, please, let this be the moment it happens. You blue-balled us with a Pep's model, so please, show us something incredible here. I wonder if Neuvillette gaining his powers back will cause Celestia to drop a nail on Fontaine. God, that is so interesting. This is such a peak writing. Easily the best Archon quest. Just quest in general. And for just everything that's been revealed so far, Furina has elevated and became my favorite character. And story-wise, and just character-wise, and writing-wise. She's just incredible. Before that, my favorite writing-wise character was Scaramouche, but now Furina tops him. That's insane. Her backstory really broke me. That's insane.
In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
What's gonna happen?
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we?
You've been sad for a
The
while.
authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O
That's
Hydro
insane.
Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
That's crazy.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked.
I love Nivelette's voice actor. I love Ray.
Hydro Dragon, Hydro Dragon. Don't
She hit him with a don't cry.
I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed.
Yep.
I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you?
I'm so
Speaking
afraid.
of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice.
So profound.
In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence. Defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over all others.
A
At
big
this point,
fuck you to the heavenly
we,
principles.
whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
He gonna beat the whale's
when I was
ass.
invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us.
Yeah.
And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalor.
She put him into this position.
Things being as they are,
to feel that way.
Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
Oh my god. What's gonna happen?
The hour
Goodbye,
of my execution is
Focalor.
almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common.
Oh.
Farewell, Neuvillette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Farewell, Focalor. Aww. Fontaine's theme. They're so beautiful. You still have Furina. She's gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. my god, the strings. Come on, Furina. Thank you for all you've done. From this moment on, please live happily as a human, just as I wished we could. You did your best. Oh my god, this is so epic, elevating.
I, Iudex Nuverlet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Oh my, this is so beautiful. He's washing away their sins. Wow. This just looks amazing. I really don't know what this would... This was just incredible.